display of might at the Constitution promulgation ceremony last August was elaborate. The country's military arsenal, ranging from armored vehicles to battle tanks, were on parade in a spectacle that was meant to inspire pride and a sense of security among citizens. But for a majority of Kenyan citizens, the armed forces remain a distant and highly mystified institution whose role not many can confidently identify with. Many know the armed forces for the colorful guard of honor they mount for the president during state functions. Others know the armed forces for the lucrative United Nations peacekeeping missions abroad. But back at home, little is heard or seen of the armed forces, even in the face of the blatant violation of Kenya's territorial boundaries, such as frequently witnessed in the Turkana region, which was last week the scene of a massacre of more than 20 Kenyans by Ethiopia's Merile militia. On paper, the armed forces are supposed to secure the country's international borders, but in practical terms, the task has always fallen in the hands of regular police, administration police and the General Service Unit posted to some of the nation's most remote outposts. The principle, according to sources conversant with the country's security procedure, is that the military is a last resort unit, while the police and the GSU are first in line. But the principle is, however, in sharp contrast to the realities around the volatile Eastern and Horn of Africa region, where neighboring states like Ethiopia and Uganda use their armies as the first line of defense, even in petty cross-border incidents such as cattle rustling. And as Turkana residents count their losses yet again, more questions can only be posed over the wisdom of a principle whose other meaning is that the country's borders are largely unmanned. Penina Karibe, NTV.
Two Faces announced the arrival of yet another worrying trend of crime in Kenya. The elderly man was killed and his wife abducted by Somali gunmen on the 11th of September. Despite a massive manhunt, she has yet to be found. And now, barely a fortnight after the kidnapping, yet another foreigner has been abducted, presumably by the same gang of kidnappers. A statement from the Ministry of Internal Security says the French national, who lives alone on the island of Manda in Lamu, was at 3:30 a.m. this morning abducted by a group of Somali gunmen coming from Ras Kiamboni in southern Somalia.
An elderly woman, 75 years old, by the name Mary Dedu, and her partner, La Papa Olemojio, who is a Kenyan. They happened to have shot in the air and eventually injured the Kenyan partner, and well, they have then taken off.
It is claimed that upon hearing of the abduction, a contingent of officers from the Navy gave chase. There was an exchange of fire in which it is believed that some of the gunmen were injured, but the group was able to escape into Somalia. Internal Security Minister makes a telling assertion in the statement on the abduction, saying that Kenya will consider the attack a breach on its territorial integrity and will consequently take self-defensive measures.
We in Kenya need to deal with these gangs and these gunmen who are destroying our security, and we need to destroy them.
Saitoti ended the statement with a warning to the abductors against breaching Kenya's territory, saying that they would be dealt with firmly. Police are already pointing at the Al-Shabaab, who control large parts of Somalia, as being behind these kidnappings in what could be a new tactic in the furtherance of their aims. However, Somali pirates, who are not linked to the Al-Shabaab, also operate in the area, but have only held hostage those aboard vessels they are targeting. After the first abduction last month, the British Foreign Office advised British nationals not to go within 50 kilometers of the Kenya-Somalia border. The French are yet to make any similar travel advisories, but the kidnappings could seriously affect tourism in that region, as many favored tourist destinations in Kenya are within range by sea of Somalia. John Alenamu, NTV.
Kenya says its army will cross into Somalia to pursue suspected Islamist insurgents believed to have kidnapped Westerners, including aid workers. It's also reviewing its policy on Somali refugees at the huge camp near the border, where on Thursday 2 Spanish women working for Doctors Without Borders were abducted in broad daylight.
Kenyan troops have crossed into Somalia to pursue Islamist rebel group Al-Shabaab, who are believed to have kidnapped foreign aid workers in Kenya. Witnesses in towns near the border report seeing a large number of soldiers, military planes and helicopters. The radical Somali group is accused of taking 4 Europeans and killing another since September. The most recent incident involves the disappearance of 2 Spanish women who were working for humanitarian group Médecins Sans Frontières at a refugee camp. Now the Kenyan government says it'll take decisive action against the danger posed by the Somali rebels.
For the first time, our country is threatened with the most serious level of terrorism.
Al-Shabaab are fighting to overthrow the government, and while their insurgency continues, it's likely that tens of thousands of refugees fleeing Somalia's famine will suffer more as aid workers stay away.